Hello, today I'm going to show you how to play the Nomad, a solo fantasy strategy playing card game. This is set in the same world as Going Knowhere, and it uses its same combat system as that game. The Nomad is going to put you in a role of a nowhere defender in training, mastering a range of builds through endless trials. Each run you're going to be assembling a set of abilities and attempt to collect as many Knowstones as possible, recording the result in your training log. Now, to give you some context here, the Nomad is a follow-up game to a game I made last year called Going Knowhere. That game, Going Knowhere, is a solo fantasy roguelite playing card game. And really the key difference between them is here you're going to be getting abilities during setup, whereas Going Knowhere utilized this character progression sheet. So the premise here was you were an adventurer who visited nowhere. Nobles ran you through trials, and if you completed all 12 trials in a single run, you won the game. But you started off really weak, and slowly you would gain more Knowstones, apply them, assign them here in your character progression sheet, and slowly get strong enough to win that game. The Nomad is kind of to that campaign mode. This is more like the adventure mode. You're going to jump in, you're going to get 8 abilities every run, and you're going to see how many Knowstones you get. So with that in mind, both games, if you're interested in that game or you've already played it, the run setup here and the gameplay are exactly the same between both games. Really, the difference is how the abilities are handled. So to play this game, you're going to need a standard pack of playing cards. I'm using the beautiful Mythic Kingdoms nature deck here. You're going to need the 24 printed ability cards that are available on my itch.io page, the printed training log, same place, and a pencil. If you look at the back here of the game rules pamphlet, also on itch.io, you'll see that there's ability icons and the index. So we'll kind of go over those real quick right now. So there's 24 ability cards. And every ability card is going to have an index number in the top right corner. You'll see here as we start getting into the rules that you're going to be recording those here on this training log, which is kind of important because if you want to, pause in between runs and you go do something else, you can come back and see the exact build you had with all those ability numbers. So then you can build that same exact group of abilities next time. You can also replay the same build multiple runs and see if you do better. So that's what that number is for, the index number. Then you're going to see in the top left, these are more just for reference of are they a passive or an active ability. So the passive one will be like this infinity symbol, meaning it's always in its effect is always in play. The active one with the lightning bolt here, you get to use this once per run. You'll discard this card to activate that effect. And then there's a bunch of categories here just for reference. Like the red ones leverage the obstacles we'll talk about. The green ones reveal the deck. Basically, they're played face up instead of face down. So yeah, there's a bunch of categories that you can look at. And all of those abilities and their index are here. But yeah, they do a variety of things that we'll go over as we go over the rules. Okay. All right. So let's get right into setup. So the first thing you're going to do is build setup. Your build is going to be your collection of abilities that you're going to start with. So what you're going to do is you're going to shuffle the 24 ability cards into a face down deck or pile. And then you have 2 build methods that you can choose from. You can either draft them, where you would do 8 rounds of drawing 2 cards and picking one of those, discarding the other to get 8 abilities. Or you could do random, which for sake of time, we're just going to do random here, where you're simply going to draw 8 ability cards. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, set the others aside. And now this is going to be your build. So once you've got your 8 abilities, whether you chose to draft or just draw them, you're going to record the run here. You're going to write all the ability numbers, index numbers, in the build section here on this new entry. So I come here and we'll just do this. I've got a 17, a 9, 8, 24. Okay, that's interesting. I'll set that one offside for a sec. 12, 22, 4, and 3. Now, you'll see there's 2 extra slots here, and that's actually for this specific ability. This notorious ability actually is also in Going Nowhere. It's kind of like the hard mode of after you've beat the game once. What this does is it, one, lets you draw 2 more abilities. So we're going to do that. 1, 2. And then, but it's also going to make the game harder. During run setup, draw 16 cards from the source to form the veil instead of 13. And then when preparing a trial, all kings are going to have 2 obstacles. We'll talk about what that is when we get to it, but we get to add these 2 abilities. So 6 and 20. All right, we've got our build set up. All right, we won't really need the training log for the rest of the game. We'll come back to it once we end our run to record our score. All right, so now I've got my abilities. I'm going to set them out here nearby, and we're going to go right into run setup. Okay, just kind of have those off to the side. You can look a little closer at those here in a little bit, but let's set up the rest of the game. All right, so we've got our build here nearby. Now we're going to build the threshold. So I've already separated out the deck. You're going to take the 12 face cards. You're going to shuffle them together into a face down deck called the threshold. Now the threshold is where the nobles are. These nobles are basically the protectors of the entrance to nowhere, and they run most strangers and foreigners through these trials. That's what Going Nowhere's for. Here, you being a nomad, a nowhere defender, you're going to utilize these trials and those nobles to master, different builds and the abilities. So here's the nobles, their threshold. So we're done with that. Next, we're going to take the 40 numbered cards, the ace through 10 in all 4 suits. You're going to shuffle those together. And this is going to form your source. We're going to put that here. Now, all of the numbered cards, their rank that you see is going to be their power. The only special one, which we'll go over it again, is the aces. When they're for the nobles as obstacles, they're always 11. When they're for you in your inventory, they're always a 1. Otherwise, all other obstacles, their power is equal to their rank. Okay, so now that we've got the source built, let's build the veil. Okay, so we're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Normally it's 13 because only the king of clubs gets 2 obstacles, but because of notorious, 3 more. Okay, so that's the veil. So what the veil is comprised of is obstacles. When you combine an obstacle and the noble together, that's going to form the trial. And we'll go over the specifics, but the rank of the nobles affect difficulty, and we'll define what that is when I get to that part, and the goal, the target number you're going for. So you combine those with the obstacles to get those parameters, okay? So we've got threshold, the veil, that forms the trials, our source, or the source. So now that we've got the source here, let's, we're gonna have our inventory. Build that. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw 6 cards, and this is going to form your starting inventory. And then the last thing, which is recently different than the old version of Going Nowhere, is you're going to take the 2 jokers, and these are going to be burdens that are going to be within the source. So these represent burdens that you could carry along the way while you're going through these trials. So I usually put kind of one at the top, one in the middle, shuffle it up. You should never have the burdens in your starting inventory, so that's why they're added afterward to the source. Okay. And then just some things to note. The space here will be like your discard pile called the void. Some abilities reference the void. It's just the discard pile. And then your hold is where you're going to keep your Knowstones. This is basically how we track our score. That will mark in the training log at the end of the game. So void here, your hold, okay? And that's it for setup. So for gameplay, a run is going to consist of up to 12 trials, 1 presented by each noble. And once you've completed all those trials, or if there's ever a scenario, which we'll talk about difficulty, where you can't commit enough resources to attempt a trial, the run ends. So each trial consists of 4 steps. You're going to prepare the trial, you're going to attempt the trial, you're going to resolve the trial, and then you're going to recover. So we're going to go right into preparing a trial. I'm going to go through it slowly and explain it here this time, and then we'll play the game at normal speed and go through it quickly. All right, so first thing you're going to do to prepare a trial is you're going to draw a noble from the threshold and place it face up next to that deck. All right, so we've got a jack of diamonds, and then we're going to draw an obstacle and place it next to the noble. These two, the noble and its obstacle, are going to combine to set the trial. So now we've got to determine what the parameters of the trial are. There's difficulty, which is the minimum number of resources here that I must commit to attempt the trial. And so to calculate that, I'm going to add up the base difficulty of the noble, which is 1 for jacks, 2 for queens, 3 for kings. And then every obstacle you have is just 1 difficulty added. And then if they match their suit, then that adds 1 bonus difficulty. So I've got 1 here plus 1, so 2 difficulty. So I'm going to have to commit 2 resources, at least 2 or more. Okay, so that's the difficulty. Now, goal is the exact power of the committed resources. They must equal the trial's goal to pass that trial. If they don't, they're higher or lower, I don't pass it. Passing it just means I fail it. It doesn't end the game. Remember, I only end the game after I've done all 12 trials, or I can't even commit the resources. Okay? So to calculate that, similar to difficulty, it's going to be the noble plus obstacle. But here, instead of it being 1, 2, or 3, depending on the noble, plus just 1, we're actually going to look at their power values. Jacks have a power of 11, queens 12, kings 13, and then we're just going to take that face value, that rank, and add them together. So we've got 11 plus 8 is 19. So our goal is 19 with 2 or more cards committed. Okay? So that is how, so now we've prepared the trial. We know how many resources we need to commit and what the trial goal is. All right, so let's attempt the trial. So we're going to commit a number of resources from an inventory equal or greater than that trial difficulty of 2, with some considerations. Remember, these aces are 1. If they're ever an obstacle, they're 11. Additionally, something I forgot to mention earlier when I talked about the nobles is they're immune to their own suit. So that means that my resources that match the suit, they count toward difficulty, so I could play this card, but they have no power. There are abilities that will override that, but in fact, I have one right here, Breach Diamonds. I could discard this ability to ignore the Diamond Noble's immunity and give all of my Diamond resources full power. So if I want to, I could play this in this first trial, and this would get its full power. Instead of being 0, it'd be 9, okay? So just consider that. And obviously, I already mentioned it, but again, if I cannot commit enough resources, which there's cases where the burdens are gonna lock down your inventory, and you don't have enough resources to play, let's say I have a difficulty of 5 or 6, and I've only got 4 cards I can play, the run would end. All right, so that's really it for attempt the trial. So let's let's think this through. Can we get this done? So 11 plus 8 is 19. I could play these 3. Okay. So I only need to play 2 or more, but I want to get this noble, so I think I'm going to just play 3. I'm not going to use Breach Diamonds right now because I can get it without that. So let's do, this. Okay. So 1 plus 9 is 10, plus this is 19. They add up. So then what you're going to do is now we're going to resolve the trial. I'm going to calculate the total power, which we have 19 here. And then we're going to discard the committed resources. And if the total equals it, then we pass the trial. So when you pass the trial, the noble is going to go into your hold, or its Knowstone. So we've now collected 1 Knowstone. That's good for our score. Basically, it's like a point. And then its obstacle as a reward goes to the bottom of the source. Okay. Now, something I haven't been looking at the abilities, and I should, and the reason why you want to have those up and going even during setup is they do affect setup. So let's actually look at them a little bit closer now. I've got one here called Scout Source. The top card of the source is always face up. So what I should have done during setup, because I just put that there, is I should have flipped this and it's always face up. It actually has another ability that says if your build has 3 or less inventory abilities, you may also treat that top card as like the 7th slot in your inventory. In fact, I have load bearer, so I actually get a 7th slot, so we'll do that. What else do we have? Should be paying attention. Okay. I have 1, 2, 3. I only have 3, so I can play that. So wow, I've got a really actually strong build here. Okay. So we resolved the trial. Obviously, if I would have failed the trial, or not obviously, but if I would have failed the trial, the noble and the obstacle would have went to the void with my committed resources. And then the last step is you're going to recover. So you're simply going to draw cards from the source to refill those empty inventory slots. Now, if we get a burden, you're going to put a burden face down, and it locks that slot, and you cannot hold a resource there. So basically, that slot is permanently locked. There are abilities. In fact, I've got a passive here that can get rid of them and shuffle them back into the source, but you never fully get rid of them. You can just delay until they come back into your inventory. Hopefully later when you can manage it. Okay, so let's refill. 2, 3, 4, and I actually, because of load bearer, says your inventory has a 7th slot. Okay, I actually have 7. This is actually a really strong build. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So let's go play a couple more, do a couple more trials here in real time now that I'm done explaining it. So first thing you're gonna do, all right, I've got a queen, get the noble. Let's see what they're, oh, that's pretty low. Okay, so now they have a difficulty of 1, 2, plus the obstacle is 3. They don't match, so no bonus. So I need to play 3 or more resources, and they need to add up to 12 plus 2 is 14. So 3 resources. Do I have any abilities that affect this in any way? I don't think so. So, okay. All right, so 14. Oh, and we can't, these spades all are 0 right now. Oh, this one too. So let's look at these first. I've got breach clubs and diamonds, not spades. I do have, if you commit a resource whose rank matches an obstacle's rank, it counts as 2. So I've got to play 3 cards. I don't know if that helps us. We do have a 2, but it counts as 0. So what that means is, since I need to play 1, 2, 3 cards, if for some reason that was a higher one, this doesn't help, it would count as 2, and I would only need 1 more card to equal 3 committed resources in its mind. So that's what Tactician does, but that doesn't really help us here. Okay, enough talking about strategy. 14. Shoot, that ace. That ace would have been good, but... Oh, wait, we can do the 9 and the 5. So let's do that. That's 14. So we're going to discard those. We now have 2. Not bad. And now we're going to recover. Okay, next trial. Okay, we've got a king now, so we have to play 2 obstacles. Normally it would just be the king of clubs, but because of Notorious, all of them have it. Oof. Oh my gosh. Yikes. This is scary. So we've got a difficulty of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank goodness none of them match. So we've got to play 5 of these. And they have to add up to a whopping 13 and 17, 30. Whew. That's hefty. Actually, We have Readiness Kings here that says King Nobles have one less base difficulty. So this is actually 2. So I have to play 4 or more, but that's a high number. So I'm probably going to need a lot of cards here. Although I've got this 10. Thankfully, I only have 1 heart. So all these other cards are in play. I also have an ability called Amplify that discard this ability to double the power of an ace as a 1, which it is, a 2, 3, 4, or 5. So let's see if we can make this work. All right, so we need 30. So if I do 10, 19, I doubled a 4, that would be an 8. If I did these, so that would be 17 plus this 3. Okay, wow. And why I'm only playing 4 instead of the 5 again is because I have Readiness King. So instead of them having 3 difficulty, they've got 4. So I'm going to use Amplify. I'm going to discard that. So I'll just put it over here in its own separate discard pile next to the normal void. All right, so I've used that. Let me put it face down, actually. Okay, it's face down. So I use Amplify to turn that 4 into an 8. And boom, wow. And we only had to play 4 instead of 5 thanks to Readiness Kings. That actually worked out with Notorious. That's actually a pretty good combo right there. So I like this build. All right, so we get both of those. That's nice. Get a king. I feel kind of proud of that with Notorious. We still have yet to get any burdens. Wow. All right. Now we've got the jack. 10, so we're right at 21. These 2 hearts are out. And I've got to play at least 2 cards. Can I even get to 21? I don't think I can, so I think I'm just going to play 2, probably these 2 aces. Since I don't have the ability that lets them be a 1 or 11, they're not that valuable to me right now, and I've already used Amplify to double them. So I'm going to get rid of this. Right, I have no way to get to 21. I don't want to spend too many. Okay, so I'm going to discard those. I failed that, so these are both also going to go in the discard. So first failed trial. It's all right. Oh, let's refresh those 2 spots. Still no burdens. Wow, we're looking out. Queen, and that's 11. So 12 and 11, 23. That's pretty high. Oof. So 1, 2, 3. So I need to play at least 3 cards that add up to 23. This diamond is out, but I do have breach diamonds if I want to use that. So I can get there with that 8. So if I did play that, this would be 15. But do I want to wait for the king of diamonds? I guess this guarantees it without using too many cards. All right, so we've got 15. I only need to play 3, but we're not going to get there otherwise because that ace is pretty hefty at 11 power. So 8, 15 is 23. That means I do have to play breach diamonds, so then this 8 of diamonds isn't 0, it's actually the full 8. So we've played that. Okay. I'm going to discard those. Now have 4 Knowstones. Okay. We get our first burden. Okay, so now that's locked down. All right. Jack of spades. All right, so that's 1, 2, and then 3 because they're the same suit. So I have to play 3 or more cards. I do have Steadfast. When you collect a Knowstone, I can shuffle that burden back into, shuffle a burden in my inventory back into the source. So we will do that if we can accomplish this. Okay, so 11 plus 8 is 19, and I have to play 3 or more cards. Do we have an 8? Okay. So spades is out. So 19. So wait, this is 13. If I play these, 17. Let's play. So if we play these, remember I'm playing this only because I've got the source and I have 3 or less, so that worked out. Okay, so 13, 17, let's just do this, 19. Okay, and I get to shuffle this back in because I collected the Knowstone thanks to Steadfast. A lot of 2s. All right, there's King of Diamonds. We already reached diamonds. Come on, don't be too high ones. Oof, okay. Thankfully they don't match. All right, so 1, 2, 3. Oh, but I have readiness, so just 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got to play at least 4 cards here. And they add up to 13, 16, 24. Thankfully, we don't have any diamonds, so this should actually be pretty easy. We have to play how many, though? Oh, actually, no. So this is a good combo. Okay, so 1, 2, because of readiness instead of 3, 4. So I have to play 4, but I also have Tactician. If you commit a resource whose rank matches an obstacle's rank, which 8 would, it counts as 2 instead of 1. You can only do this once per trial. So if I did this, 18 plus 6, we're at same thing. And we only have to play 3 cards. So that worked out thanks to Tactician and Readiness Kings. This is a pretty strong build. All right, so I only have to discard 3. Get those 2. We're doing pretty good. We're starting to get a little low on resources. Yep, here's the burden now back. Ooh, King of Clubs. That's usually the big boy who always has 2 obstacles even in the regular mode. Okay. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 more cards I have to play. 13, 16, 22 this time instead of 24. But these clubs are out, but I do still have breach clubs, which we haven't played the queen or the jack of clubs yet. So let's see if we can get this done without those. Oh, that's 3 of them. Oof. Okay. So I need 24 or 22. So if I play this and this, that's 14. Shoot, I don't think I can do this. And I don't have a 6 or a 3 to like only have to commit 3 cards. Oof, this stinks. Okay, let's get rid of some of our low ones. Let's see here. We've already played 2 spades, so I might keep the 2 spades because, well, we have the king left. We've played all diamonds. I don't have any diamonds here. Shoot. These hearts are going to hurt. So maybe I get rid of hearts. So I've got to commit. Let's commit this, this. I guess all these 2s are too small. So I'm going to commit these 4. Obviously, those do not add up to that, so that's a fail. So that's going to get discarded. That stings. On the kings, you really want to get the kings because they give you 2 obstacles. Okay, and now I'm out. I'm almost out of cards here. Okay, so this may be our last or second to last trial here. All right, 1, 2, so 2 or more cards adds up to 16. Man, look at all these clubs. Oof. Okay, let's get this one though. So I could play these 3 clubs and do breach clubs. I think I'm going to do that. But will I have enough cards against the queen? I don't think there was any other way I could do that. Okay, so, oh yeah, because I am going to get that 1 card. So I'm going to get this. Now, Steadfast would proc that says when you collect a Knowstone, shuffle a burden in, but it's going to just come right back because I'm out. And this goes to the bottom. I could just leave it there, but I'll recover it here. All right, let's see what we can do. These are our last 4. It's a queen. Can I get this queen? So 12 plus 6 is 18. I can. Well, wait, how many cards do I need? 1, 2, 3. Shoot, so I can't just do those 2. Oh, wait. Oh, no, I used breach. Oh, no, I can do this. I'm going to use this card toward the difficulty, but it counts as 0 in this case. So then these 2 cards will be 18. So we get those. Okay, this will come back in. I don't have any active abilities to use. All the rest are passives. And actually it's 2. Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm done. The run is over. How many did I collect? That's actually pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, 8 of the 12 is not bad. I'll take that. That was a pretty strong build. Notorious is rough, but it gives you more abilities. So now what I'm going to do, we will talk about this because this is pretty fun, is after it ends, we're going to mark our score here for this build. Right here in the Knowstone section of the training log, and obviously the same entry as our build. So we got 8. Now, if you want to play this same build again, this was a pretty strong, fun build, you can just skip build setup because you've already got your build. So I would just put these cards back, these abilities back, and now I would be ready to go for my build. So I could skip that. I just got to set up the run again. If you want to take that a step further, there's an optional endurance challenge. How this works is you must use the same build each run. After each run, you're going to compare your number of Knowstones that you collected to your previous run. So we'd obviously would look, this was a strong first run. If your score is the same or higher, you continue the endurance challenge. If it's ever lower, you still mark it. That's going to be the end of your challenge. And then like you see here, I had 5, I did it here. I had 5 runs. You would add them all up and then multiply them by the number of runs. So you want to get as high as you can for as long as you can to get a higher score. So here I would have added these up times 5, and that would be my endurance challenge score. So I'm going to try that. That's a pretty tough number to beat, but let's see if, if I do another run, can I get at least an 8 or higher and keep that endurance challenge going. So yeah, that is Nomad. I'm excited for you guys to try it out. This is kind of the adventure mode to Going Knowhere's campaign mode. I love both of them for different reasons, but I'm looking forward to see what you guys think. All right, thanks for watching.